It feels like everything that's been going on, including what's happening right now, many things are coming to a head. I didn't expect that all the time that I spent just like browsing 4chan and learning all this different lore is something that is going to be such a big part of not just what's going on in this stream, but what's going on in many different people's minds. Because people really seem to be programmed right now as loudspeakers for other people's ideas. I remember it was Verse, who I wish could be here today as well, but unfortunately he can't make it. But Verse, he put it very interestingly, that there is sort of a death of the individual that's leading to this more of an egregore, more of a collective mind. But I would disagree in the sense that I think it's important to also have part of your individuality be something that would reject certain things that you would not want to be part of you. Where you could say, no, like all this other stuff, I just want to get rid of it. I don't want this to be a part of me. Instead, I'm going to concentrate on receiving the passions of these particular gods. Because I don't even know whether or not we are all these quote-unquote individuals, or if we're still powered by the passions of the gods like the archaic Greeks like to call. Like, that's still a mystery to me.
Well, I'd like to throw something in there. I think what he's talking about is the more matriarchal form of information communication. Like, information can reach the other side of the world in an instant, and the way we react to it is much more on a collective level than we would as an individual, right? So you see somebody else's take, and that sort of becomes it taints your take, and so we sort of start reacting in a much more matriarchal fashion, right? And so if you're looking at individualism versus the collective, it's the same paradigm in terms of, the individual makes up the collective. So you can't really call it a collective. We're all still individuals. The difference is now we have access to more information. So now we're sort of equaling out the playing field when it comes to that sort of thing. And we can communicate a lot better if we make an attempt to, right? I mean, it's once that communication stops breaking down that we start thinking all alike, all at the same time, without any autonomy. And that would be a definite problem. And that's usually what you get with a more patriarchal system of top-down information, right?
Well, there definitely has to be a balance between the two. I just don't like the fact that, for example, when I did that SpongeBob SquarePants Opharim or Orifim, I don't remember what it's called, but that angel with the wheels. When I put that meme out and it got 42,000 likes and 10,000 retweets, that a lot of the people who were retweeting it, a lot of them were in this mode of just copying all these different BLM hashtags and the rainbow flags and the trans flags, and they all just seem to be repeating the same pattern over and over and over, even in their art style, like certain art styles that I find today very reminiscent of, I was talking about this with Sophia before, the Tumblr culture. Like, Sophia, how did you refer to it? Well, CalArt's sort of a part of that, but Sophia, like, how did you refer to it? Like, that it's like a mommy, what was the word that you used?
Can't think of it right now.
I'm gonna have to look this up. What exactly we were talking about there? But it's like some kind of like mother culture that's at work here, where they try to be very tolerant, too tolerant to a certain extent, and at the same time be very vicious to anybody who would threaten their babies. Like, that's kind of the way that I would describe what I'm seeing right now.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think that's pretty consistent. The irony I find with like Tumblr culture, and that's spread to Twitter, as Twitter has basically become like the fertile ground that is now being, I guess, impregnated with like other internet cultures. Like, you have Tumblr coming in, you have the chants coming in, you have everyone going to Twitter. But when you look at the Tumblr sphere, you wind up with like this like really militant intersectionalism. That's where like cancel culture really started out from. Like, if you want to see cancel culture before it was called cancel culture, it was teenage girls canceling each other because they were like kinning the wrong character, like no doubles, things like that. It was a wild time.
Well, that was like with Steven Universe, and by the way, Rebecca Sugar's birthday was yesterday. Happy birthday, Rebecca Sugar! But it was like with Steven Universe, where somebody drew one of her characters as too thin, even though she was supposed to be a lot more portlier, and the poor girl started getting death threats from people who did not appreciate her being drawn thin.
That was the best. I don't know if you guys remember, but it was like one of the last things that Tumblr did that was sort of noteworthy was that there was all the people who drew Steven Universe characters as like pure Aryans with
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, I
remember that.
Perfect white skin and blonde hair.
yeah, perfect white
That
skin.
flew under my radar. Please expand.
Yeah, basically like
I'll send it to you.
someone did like one version of that and they got like canceled, like you said, and then it spread to 4chan and everyone just made edits like where every character was like perfect blonde hair, bright blue eyes, like very white. And
they even
they
made Fash Wave memes about it, I think.
yeah, exactly. And then they flooded every hashtag Steven Universe, hashtag like whatever, everything. And then there was one main account that was posting it, and they just kept like sending threats to this account, and this account posted like a selfie, and it was like a black dude, and he was like, "Are you trying to like stifle my creative vision? Like this is how I see these characters." And then everyone backtracked, and we're like, "Oh, we can't." It was
Yeah,
really
it was
funny.
hilarious.
It was,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have the like sources, but if you look it up, you can find it. It was really funny.
I think Internet Historian has a video about it.
That was it. Yeah,
So
that was
funny.
it was hilarious.
That's so McLuhan-esque when you think about it. You know, all these people see these characters and they identify with the way that they look. And then once you change the media, the message completely changes. It's like they have no depth, you know?
Exactly.
That's a big concern that I have when I see a lot of these different identities, because before, people were defined by what? Like you had these Scandinavian peasant girls wearing clogs or whatever, and they wore these fancy outfits. They were defined in a way, like, I don't know who created those outfits, but they were kind of like flower people. Like they were defined by whatever the fashion of their village was and whatever the traditions were that go back thousands of years. And that is something that gave them a sense of purpose. And the fear is that now that people are without that kind of bedrock structure, where do they go? Who do they listen to? They don't listen to their parents. Their parents are just as clueless. So it's a very strange time where the only thing people do have are like the chants, the Tumblrs. Well, now we don't have a Tumblr for that as much anymore, but still, like, we have Twitter. We have all these different influences that people are trying to grab onto. And there's not really that much people who are going to be nuanced about the takes, unfortunately. They're just going to act, like I said before, like loudspeakers for whoever is shouting the loudest.
Well, I mean, you could look at it as a form of fragility that it's easily smashed, right? If they just, you know, if they keep getting smashed over and over again, a little scar tissue is bound to build up. I mean, hopefully.
But I don't think they are getting smashed, though.
Up.
They're isolating themselves from any contrary opinion, and then when somebody tries to have a dialogue with them, then they say that they're sea lioning. Like, I don't know if you guys are familiar with that term.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, I mean, it just happened to me the other day, actually. I got canceled like a few days ago, or maybe like last week. So I'm actually really new to this kind of sphere of social media and like the internet. I'm a former chanter, and then I came across like Kaliaka a couple weeks ago. I was like, God damn, like where has this been my whole fucking life? Like I've been waiting for this shit, because I'm a musician, and naturally, like in the alternatives circles, a lot of them are mostly liberals, like Tumblr, like SJW, the typical like septum ring, turf bangs, like colored hair. And I guess like I've just never really identified with that that prevailing mentality and social beliefs that they all seem to wield. They all seem to like kind of parrot in this echo chamber. And I've like I guess like shortly after I started doing music, I got signed. I went on tour. So it was just like it became this whole liability, like my online persona and image. And I had to manage what I was saying, or else like, you know, I'd get dropped from my fucking record label, or else like, you know, the whole scene would just cancel me in an article, and I'd get scathing reviews on my record and whatever. But like the other day when I saw the whole like Kaliak thing, when I was watching Break the Rules, I was like, what the fuck am I doing with my fucking life? Like I have this platform and I have these people that are like you know, that got tattoos of my music or my lyrics and my art, and like, what am I doing? You know? So I just felt kind of emboldened to say something. And so what happened was, there was this tweet going around of this girl, and I guess she posted a picture of her younger sister. She was like 7 or 8 years old, and she was like, my sister is coming out as bisexual today on the last day of like Gay Pride Month. And I quote tweeted it. I was like, I basically said something to the effect of like, for a group of people who are so ardently against pedophilia and like the sexualization of children, I think it's really ironic how you're legitimizing the sexual autonomy and agency of a fucking 7-year-old or something like that.
Mhm.
And oh my God.
No, you can't
Yeah.
say that. That's illegal.
Yeah, the reaction was instantaneous. It was fucking crazy. But it was funny because I actually saw a lot of people liking and retweeting my tweet before I started getting canceled. But the moment I got canceled, the likes and retweets stopped happening. And it was like almost this fear. Like they saw the reaction that I was getting. Like, what the fuck is, like, what should I believe? Like, what should I do? Like, I agree with him, but I don't want to show people that I agree with him. And it's this fucking fear that it scared me. Like I legitimately, like I was shaking and I dropped my phone. I was like, holy shit, what did I do? Like it's over for me. And then I was like, you know what? Fuck it. So I just went in and I started arguing with people for like 4 hours. And people were deleting their tweets after I would argue with them. And I would just fucking mock them for like, I don't know, like 30 quote tweets straight. And it was weird because they weren't really like posing any arguments or refutations of what I was saying. It was just like, it looked bad. It looked offensive. So they would just like throw these ad hominems and straw man at me. And then like in my DMs, they'd apologize, like, hey, I'm sorry. I deleted my tweets. Like you were right. It is kind of fucked up, you know, low key. I do have this feeling that what we believe in is wrong and da 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 da. Like, I'm just like, can you not do that next time?
Yeah.
The dirty sycophants. There's so many of them.
This brings up the idea that maybe human identity and how they choose identity has always been sort of a fragile thing. Like we're assuming that back in the past, there was something more to the identity than appearances, but that might not be the case.
Well, identity it's just
Depends on the
like
person.
it's not a real thing. The thing that you are is a thing of itself. The thing that you are is your body. It's not what you label yourself as. So and I'm not saying that in any like specific way, like you can interpret that as you will, but I mean it in like the most literal way possible. Like you are who you are. If you like claim to be a thing, you could be lying, you could be under duress. And like a lot of people are under duress. I wouldn't consider it like a psychologically neutral environment to be surrounded online by people who are like crucifying people who may think like you or may think differently from you, but you can see that there's like this crusade. That's being under duress. You are not in neutral conditions. Any statements that you make are more a result of your environment than they are of yourself, unless you have a strong soul or a strong sense of will. But most people don't.